Hello everyone. Welcome back to my Pipedrive tutorial series where I talk about setting up Pipedrive the right way and about using it efficiently to get the most out of your CRM system and processes. In this video, we are going to talk about how to import data into Pipedrive. So firstly, here's some sample data for us to import into Pipedrive. So as you can see, there are fields like company name, address, industry, website, person, email, phone, deal name, pipeline stage, estimated closing date, deal value, activity type, notes, next activity date. So this spreadsheet is based on the assumption that a team has been using spreadsheets to follow up with their leads, and now they want to upgrade to a CRM like Pipedrive. So this is where a clean and formatted spreadsheet comes into the picture. Now, for anybody new to Pipedrive, I have included a sign up link for Pipedrive that will give you a 30-day free extended trial for Pipedrive. There's also a link to my Pipedrive review in the description below. Now, moving on, we are going to now quickly again see the fields that we want to import, right? So, we have already reviewed the raw data. Now, here's a quick tip to understand what fields can be uploaded into Pipedrive. Okay, so the tip here is that you go to your Pipedrive account, you go to the export data tab, and once there, you export every object from Pipedrive. Now, when you download this export from Pipedrive, you will get all the fields that are included in your Pipedrive account under that particular object. For simplicity, I have listed all the fields under all the relevant objects in this particular tab, and I've also highlighted any field that we would want to have in our data import CSV for us to port it from the spreadsheet to Pipedrive. Now we have seen what our input data looks like. We have seen what our target data set might look like. And now we would want to understand how to take this data and transform it into a format which is acceptable for Pipedrive. So this is where uh, a tool like Coupler comes into the picture. I'm going to quickly cover what Coupler is about. So Coupler is a data pipeline tool which allows you to back up data from any SaaS system to databases like spreadsheets. Uh, it's not fair to call spreadsheets databases, but you get the idea. So think of use cases like exporting data from Pipedrive to a Google Sheet. It could be a one-time thing, or it could be a regular event where you take backup of your Pipedrive data regularly. In this case, what we are going to do is we are going to read data from a Google Sheet, transform that data, and then export it again to a Google Sheet. So our input data is this data from the inquiries tab. Our output data is this data in the data for import tab. Now here in this inquiries tab, we have 14 columns. In the export, I have added 23 columns. So now let's quickly see how to go from 14 to 23 columns very quickly. So here in this scenario, inside Coupler, we will see this step called transform data. Now, what can the transform data function in Coupler do is what we are going to see now. So firstly, it allows me to rename any field to the name that is more suitable for Pipedrive. So for example, deal name is not a good name for deal titles inside Pipedrive. So we have relabeled that to deal title. Similarly, we have used the estimated completion date inside Pipedrive inside the CSV data and relabeled it to deal created date. Then we have used the deal created date as the date for when the person was created as well as when the organization was created inside Pipedrive. So like this, so another advantage of coupler or another thing that you could do inside coupler is, like, apart from renaming the columns, we can rearrange the columns. So you can drag this column name to the left or to the right and have the data arranged very methodically, in the sense that, like how you see under this tab, first of all I have laid out all fields related to organization, then I have laid out all fields related to person, similarly then deals, then activities, and then notes. In this data import, I'm not including anything that is related to notes. So all the fields in my import CSV are related to organization, person, deal, and activities. Apart from renaming the columns and rearranging the columns, I can create new columns using formulas inside coupler. I can hide some of these columns if I don't need them. So, for example, let's say I don't need the organization's industry in my import, so I can hide it and it won't be included in the export. Apart from that, I can decide to filter out some of these records from my import based on any of these columns. Sort is simply for aesthetical reasons, in the sense that you would want the records to be created in, let's say, some sort of um, order. In this case it could be by organization created date. So in this case, let's quickly sort it by organization created date, and then you can see how all these records are arranged by the date the organization was created. Lastly, you can add formulas, and let's quickly look at some of the formula fields that we have used. So firstly, organization created date is simply the deal created date. Let's find another example. Organization owner is the name of the user in the Pipedrive account. In this case, it's just me. Then we have person created, which is again based on deal created date. Let's look at another example. So deal probability, for example, this is a nested if where the deal probability has been calculated based on the pipeline stage of the deal. So if it's a new lead, it's a 1% chance of converting. If it's contacting, it's 1%. If it's discussion, it's 25%. If the proposal is sent, it's 50%. Else, which is the last stage, it's 75%. Like the last stage is negotiation in my pipeline uh, stages. So the negotiation will then have 75% as the probability. Then I also have estimated deal closing date, which is again simply adding 60 days to the deal created date, which is based on the assumption that I can close any deal in 60 days since the deal arrived into my system. Once I have added that date, I can also format it to have a desired format. Then again, this is a simple formula to assign a currency to the deal value. Apart from that, I have other fields like activity type, activity subject, and activity assigned to. So now we have seen what all we can do inside Coupler when it comes to data transformation. If you need more information about what formulas we can use and how to use them, you can refer to this resource, which is available in Coupler docs. It covers all the formulas or all the mathematical and logical operators you could use inside Coupler. All right. So now I'm going to quickly run the scenario inside Coupler. So let's click on proceed, continue, finish and proceed, save and run. So let's wait for this data to be uploaded to the Google Sheet. And as soon as it is uploaded, you will see that the timestamp will be updated. So now all of these data sets, they are sorted by the organization created date, which is the change that we made when we were updating the scenario inside coupler. Now the next thing to do would be to download this tab as a CSV. Let's say I'll save this on my desktop, and then I'll come to Pipedrive to import it. So now I'm back in Pipedrive. I go to the import data tab. For me, I can find it under more and import data. Here I'm going to select the option of from a spreadsheet. I'm going to upload the CSV file that I just downloaded. I'm going to select it. It is going to parse this file very quickly, and then it is going to present this information to me for review. So now you can see that because we relabeled some of the fields uh, before importing that data, Pipedrive has already gone and assigned the labels or mapped the fields to the correct field inside Pipedrive. For the remaining fields, let's see what we can do about them. So the first one is organization created date. So under organization, I'm going to look for organization created date. This is now mapped. Now I'm looking for the name of the organization. This goes here. I'm looking for the address. This goes here. Then the industry is something that is not present in my Pipedrive account. I can quickly add this field from here, and I'm going to call this industry. No grouping, a simple text field will do for now. I'm going to click save. I can pull the industry field here now. I don't have website, so I'm going to add another field for website as well. Let's see if there's a URL type for date. There is not. I'm going to just save it as a text. I'm going to map the owner to myself. The website is mapped, and now we come to person created date. So now we move to the person type fields, and we pull the person created date here. Now we verify the rest of the fields that have been already mapped. So person name is here. We could have split the names into first name and last name before importing it to Pipedrive. But what Pipedrive does wonderfully is if you import a name, if you import a full name, Pipedrive will automatically fill the first and not last name. So that is taken care of by Pipedrive for us. The phone number is mapped to phone, person owner is mapped to person owner, and now we are into the deal territories where we will import or we will map deal related fields. So we go to the deals tab. The first one is the created date, so it's called deal creation date, for example. Then we have title. Let's look for title. Then owner is mapped correctly. So you can, by the way, you can identify field, the object of a field is under by using these icons. So an organization will have this building icon, the person will have a person icon, the deal will have this dollar icon. So that way I can know that the field is mapped to the correct object, to the correct field under the right object, right? So now deal pipeline stage, this is stage, there is probability, there is value, there is estimated closing date. Let's find that. It's called expected close date. Then we have currency. If for some reason we don't want to import a particular field, we can simply skip it. Then we come to the activity fields, and it is identified using this calendar icon. So now I have to map, for example, next activity date, so which is due date, then the activity type, and it's going to say that some of these field types are not mapped correctly. So for now, instead of going to the create activity types tab, I'm simply going to map all of them to something super vague. So I'm going to call all of them tasks. I remember there being an option to create those types here, but maybe it's just for custom fields and not for this one. So I've mapped the subject, and then assigned to is assigned to user, right? And then when you click on this edit icon, it is automatically going to map me to the value which says my name, right? So this is saved. I'm quickly going to map the deal currency. So now we have mapped all the fields required in this, all the fields that were included in our CSV import file. So now I'm going to quickly click on next, and now it's going to quickly ask me a question about how to handle duplicates. So for simplicity, because my data is clean, I know there are no duplicates, I'm going to simply say create multiple records. I will cover the topic of duplicates in another video, which may come in the future, and it involves using the merge duplicate features inside Pipedrive, which is a manual and laborious process. Or we could use a tool like dedupli to manage or to deal with duplicates on an ongoing basis. I'll include a link to dedupli in the description below. So now we can quickly review if we have mapped all the correct things. So this is industry, this is the company address, the name of the company, the website owner, everything looks fine. So now let's start the import. Now the import has been started. I'm importing just 50 records, so this should be fairly quick, as you can see on the progress bar, right? In the meantime, we will, once this import is complete, we are going to quickly review the imported data. If for some reason we are not satisfied with the way the data was imported, we can revert an import by using this option at the bottom right. We can then go back to our raw data, make some changes in that raw data if there was an issue with that raw data, or come back to the screen where we mapped everything from the CSV import to fields inside Pipedrive in case the issue was there in that particular step. So I don't see a reason to revert anything yet. So let's quickly go to the deals tab and just spot check some of these options. So for example, let's pick one of these companies here. This is, let's pick a deal that is related to Apple, right? So here I can see the name of the company is Apple. It is correctly linked to Tim Cook, and it's correctly linked to a deal called iPhone 15 launch. The next item or the next activity due is sample notes for Apple. So all of this looks clean to me. Let's quickly check another example. And this, in this case, let's look at the sample data from, let's find a recognizable brand. So in case, so in this case, let's review Samsung. So smartphone market expansion, Ko Dongjin, everything looks in order. So because everything is in order, we don't have to revert the import. So here now we have seen how to import raw data for the first time inside Pipedrive. So for example, here now you can see all the 50 people that we imported into Pipedrive. We can see all the organizations that we imported into Pipedrive as part of this import. We can see all the deals inside this pipeline view or the deals list view. And then we can also see all the activities related to all these deals inside Pipedrive, right? So everything is in order. This is how we import brand new data into Pipedrive for the first time. Now, another question that you would usually have is how to update some data inside Pipedrive in bulk when such a situation arrives. So, for example, let's say you have a turnover in your sales team, and instead of assigning deals one by one inside Pipedrive, You want to export all the deals data, change the owner for each deal in a spreadsheet, and then import that data back to Pipedrive. So in such cases, what you should ideally do is you should export the data from Pipedrive, and for that you can use Coupler to set up a scenario or a importer which would import data from Pipedrive into a Google Sheet where you can make all the necessary changes. On top of that import, if you want to make some transformations, then I can again use Coupler to transform some of that data. Once that data looks in the right shape for import, you can then again follow the same steps, which includes exporting that tab as a CSV and then re-importing that into Pipedrive. Now, in such situations where you have to update existing data in Pipedrive, the most critical field is the ID under each object. So in this case, if you want to update an existing deal inside Pipedrive, you have to export all the data related to that deal along with the deal ID. And when importing, you have to map the deal ID in that step, in the field mapping step. So the deal ID field from the CSV will be mapped to the Pipedrive system ID for deals, and that is the way you can ensure that the right deal is being updated. Now, signing off. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you have any questions or feedback, please leave them in the comments below. If you need help with your Pipedrive account, you can book a call with me using the booking link in the description. Again, if you are new to Pipedrive, sign up for a 30-day free trial of Pipedrive using the link in description. Lastly, you can sign up for Coupler using the link in description. And if you sign up, you should get a 14-day free trial, and you can always come back to me in case you need more time uh, to test out Coupler. In my opinion, or in my experience, the advantage of using Coupler would be instant. If you spend a couple of hours trying to set up the data backup process for your Pipedrive data, you should be able to get that done in 30 minutes. And that way you'll have tested the utility of Coupler and you'll be not disappointed. And if you are signing up for Coupler, just go for the annual plan, which is a 20% saving. And because this is a short use case for any company using Pipedrive or any other SaaS solution, if you are looking to back up your data, then a solution like Coupler is a no-brainer. So thank you again for staying till the end. I really appreciate it. I'll see you again in the next video. Goodbye. Cheers.